Hey guys, welcome to my channel and welcome to today's video. Today I am going to be doing two looks using the JACLYNHILL Volume 2 palette that she did with Morphe. This is one of the looks. So if you want to see two different looks and hear my thoughts on this palette, then just keep on watching. Okay, so I'm going to be using my Jeffree Star Magic Concealer to prime the lids. This is typically what I will do, so that is what I'm going to do in this case as well. The one thing I do wish is that, and I've heard a lot of people say this and I definitely agree, is that I wish this palette had a mirror. Her first one didn't have a mirror and neither does this one, but it just would have been nice because I do like having a mirror in my palettes, just because when I'm trying to, you know, sometimes I want to be able to look really close in the mirror, and it's nice when the palette has a mirror. Although I will say it's not like a deal breaker for me, since this is such a large palette. You know, not having a mirror is not that big of a deal because it's kind of a lot to hold in your hand anyway. But that is just the one thing that maybe she could have done differently, was included a mirror. So I'm going to set down my concealer with the shade, with this matte like white shade called Certified. This one right here. Just gonna set down the concealer. This is what I will always do for all my makeup looks. So again, I'm just sticking with my typical routine for this palette and these looks. There is a tiny bit of kick up in that shade, like when you tap in, but it's nothing to be too concerned about. But I know, at least so far, this is just the white shade, so I don't know how the rest are gonna be. But yeah, so here is what the eyes look like set down. I think that did a really nice job. I don't see any issues with it. It's just like a bone color shade, so you know, you're probably not gonna see too many issues with it in general. But alright, so I'm thinking I want to do some kind of like pinky crease with maybe like a champagne pinky lid, and then have yellow like in the inner corner, just because I think the yellow inner corner looks pretty cool and I want to see how well this yellow in the palette does. So I think just to start off for the transition, I'm gonna go in with the shade Perfectionist, this one right here. Now I will say, looking at these three, I mean, yes, this one is deeper, but these two specifically don't really look so much different, where I think they were both necessary. But I mean, she obviously has a reasoning for why she put them in. It is good to have different tones, I guess, but I'm gonna go with the shade Perfectionist, and there is some kick up, and I'm just gonna put this all over the crease. I'm not seeing a ton of color coming from that shade, but there is a little bit. And again, there definitely is kick up in the pan, so just keep that in mind if that's something that bothers you. As I said in pretty much all my videos when I use palettes that have kick up, it does not bother me to have a little bit of kick up in the pan. I just blow it away and I move on with life. So alright, so that is what the transition shade is looking like. I kind of want to build it up a little bit more in the inner part of the eye. Okay, so we've got the transition shade all over. Now what I want to go in with is this really pretty pink shade called Tipsy Girl, this one. Now this one is going to be like our main bright shade, you know, that's the pink that I'm going to use. So I am just going to dip into that. There is some kick up in that shade as well. And I'm just going to focus this into the crease also, pretty much overlapping where I put the transition shade, but maybe just not taking it as high. Okay, so there is some pink added. Definitely think I'm going to build it up a little bit more. And don't worry too much about the lid because I'm pretty sure I'm going to just take some concealer to carve that out before I go in with my shimmery shade. So far that is blending out very nicely, you know, especially for like a bright pinky color. You know, I'm more used to working with neutral shades, so you know, it's nice to see that these colorful shades are working out pretty well so far. So that is what we have on the lid, or on the crease so far. Now I think just for the sake of the video, I kind of want to deepen up maybe the outer corner part with the shade Lolly Mama, which is this one. It's a little, I mean, you see this is like the bright pink and this one's a little bit darker. So I think I want to put that in the outer portion of the crease. There is Kick Up in that pan as well. And I'm only dragging that in to about right here. I'm not bringing it all the way in like I did with the pink, with the bright pink. So that is definitely making this like a darker outer corner. And I think the use of that shade Perfectionist in the beginning is kind of toning down the pink just a little bit, which is fine because, you know, it was a brown, it was like a transition shade, so I can understand why it would do that. Here's what we have so far. Alright, so I think I'm going to go in with this shade, which is Drama Queen, just because it's a little bit more pinky and this one's a little bit more coppery. So I will say that Morphe's shimmer shades, at least from the palettes I have tried, they are not super metallic. I find that you really do have to like build them up, I guess, you know, but sometimes it's nice to have that like more muted down metallic. But what I want to do now is I'm going to take a little bit of my concealer and a flat brush, and I just want to carve out and clean up my crease, or my lid, just a little bit so that we can get this color to really pop. Now I want to go ahead and take that shade Drama Queen, which was this one. I will take another flat brush and just, let's start with picking some of it up on a brush. I may have to go in with my finger. The brush is really not picking it up, so I'm just going to go in with my finger and tap it on the lid. Alright, so I'm going to work on blending out these outer portions, but that is what the lid shade is looking like so far. I think what I want to do, though, really quick is add a little bit more of that first pink shade, which was Tipsy Girl, and just kind of add that back to the crease, just to like add some of that brightness. And back in with Drama Queen on this like outer portion. Then I'm going to go back in with that shade Lolly Mama, which we put on the outer corner. Just a little bit to like blend these two together. So far, the pinks show up really nice, I think. I know they're a little bit uneven, but you just gotta work with what you got here. Alright, and then what I want to do is take some of this bright yellow shade, which is the shade No Joke, and we're going to put that in the inner corner. Let's see how it does by itself first. That's what that looks like. Does show up. In person it's a little bit harder to see than on camera, but you can see it. I think yellows are like a difficult shade. At least that's what it seems like, because even the yellow in the Jeffree Star Thirsty palette, I feel like just kind of goes away when you try to put it on. So at least this one, so far, you can see it. So now I want to work on the lower lash line. And I want to go in with, we will go in with Tipsy Girl first. I kind of want to see how that's going to apply without having the brown shade, just out of curiosity, you know, just to see. So. It's applying nicely under the eye. So far, these shadows are honestly building and working very nicely. I'm not having any trouble with it at all. I know this is a little bit of a different look, but just kind of playing around with it. It's makeup, it's fun, so stepping out of my comfort zone a little bit. I know that this eye and this eye are like totally different shapes with the eyeshadow. I think this one's a little bit higher up than this side. All right. Then what I'll do, just for the heck of it, I'm going to take a flat brush and I'm going to take the shade Temptress, which is the black in the palette, and I'm just going to put that really closely to the lower lash line just to add some like darkness and depth. That black went on really, really easily. Then I'm going to just take a tiny bit of Tipsy Girl again and just kind of blend the lower lash line again. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with how the eyes are looking. It's different. It's definitely different for me. Let me go ahead and I'll take the shade, let me make sure it's like a, let's see. Oh, I'll take the shade I'm In It, which is this one right here. It's like, has like a little bit of a different shift to it. It's not just white. We'll highlight the brow bone with that. I don't think it's really translating well on camera or really in person for that matter. I mean, you can see it in person, but it's not super in your face, but it does have like a pinky purpley shift to it. So I think that is where I will leave the eye makeup, and I will go ahead and add my eyeliner and mascara, and then I will pick a lip to go with this. Alright, so I am back with mascara and eyeliner and my lipstick. I have MAC Strip Down Lip Liner and Morphe Virgin Liquid Lipstick. I think this eye look called for a nude lip. I first went in with like this red shade from Jeffree Star, but it just did not pair well with the eye look. So I decided to go in for a nude lip. I'm actually really impressed with how this look turned out, especially given that it's out of my comfort zone. As you guys know, if you've watched any of my videos, I generally stick to neutral looks, but this was really fun to create. I love the yellow inner corner. I think this is so fun for like summer. All of the shades that I used worked out really well. I mean, I think they had no issues blending. I think it looks really, really cute. You know, I'm happy with the first palette she did with Morphe, and this one so far I'm happy with as well. I really think this look turned out pretty cute, and again, I think it's perfect for summer. So you guys will have to let me know what you think of this look, but so far I am enjoying it, and I am enjoying this palette. Now, I think I don't really use Morphe palettes other than like collabs. I have, used them like way back in the day when they used to be in those big black palettes. I didn't really use them much back then when I got them, and then now I have pretty much stuck to only buying if there's like an influencer collab that I'm interested in, such as, you know, Jeffree Star or Jaclyn. So I don't really purchase Morphe shadows too much. But this so far has worked out really nicely, and you know, I hope that you guys liked this look too. I think it was very easy to create. I think the shades blended really well. I did not have to do too much. Now I imagine you could make these shades show up brighter if you use like a white base or some kind of eyeshadow base. I have seen some people use the P. Louise eyeshadow primers because they come in like different colors. I personally have never tried those, and I don't have anything like that, so you know, I just went in with my concealer. I think it looks bright enough, you know, but again, I think if you had like a white base or something, you could really make the colors pop at that point. But as for this look, I like it, and I think it blended out really nicely, and you know, like I said, I think I like it. So I am going to take this off and do a neutral look using this palette for you, just for those people out there that do like neutral looks, and I am one of those people. So, and just to also test more of the shades, you know, I didn't use a ton of the shades just to do this look, so I want to test some more of them. So anyway, I will be back and we will do the second look. Okay guys, so we are gonna do look 2 now. There is a little bit of like pink residue left behind. I did just use a makeup wipe, so I'll have to see like once I actually take all my makeup off later if that actually did leave staining. But I went ahead and put some concealer over top, and I'm going to set that down with the shade Certified like I did for the first look. So I'm just setting that concealer down, and hopefully that shade will cancel out any of the pink. And keep in mind that I do have a little bit of mascara and eyeliner on still, just from earlier. So I'm going to do a very like natural wearable look using probably shades from the first 2 rows, since the rest is not very natural and everyday, you know, everyday looking. So just gonna take a crease brush, and I will go in with the shade Love Handles this time, since in the first look I went in with this one. They're very similar in my opinion, just in the pan at least, so I'm just gonna dip into this one to, I don't know, switch it up a little bit. Since this palette doesn't have a mirror, I am gonna switch to using my Jeffree Star mirror instead of my like stand-up mirror, just because it'll be a little bit easier. There is Kick Up in this shade as well. So far, every shade I've used has had some Kick Up, but it's nothing to be really concerned about. I'm just working this into the crease to kind of build it up. It is building nicely. What's nice is I don't think it's too much too fast. Like I am, you know, I get to build this up. Sometimes when shades are too pigmented, it's kind of a pain, because then you have to be so careful in the beginning, and if you go in with too much, then you're kind of stuck trying to like blend it all out. So I like that these are buildable and not, at least this shade in particular, is, but I actually think that is a really pretty shade, especially for like an everyday look. I really like that. That was the shade Love Handles, just to reiterate. I will say that some of the Kick Up did kind of spill over into the other shade, but most of it just blows away. So next, I guess I'll go in with this shade G Money right here. I'm just going to deepen up the crease a little bit with that shade. And let me just show you some of the Kick Up in this shade. I don't know how well you guys will be able to see it, but you can definitely see it in the pan. So if Kick Up is something that bothers you, then definitely stay away from this palette, because there is Kick Up and that's just how it is. So far I'm really enjoying this palette though, so if you can get past the kick up, so far I think it is worth it. I'm just going to stamp this in the outer corner and focus it lower in the crease. Alright, so just to compare, this is what this eye looks like with a little bit of G Money, and you can see that it definitely added some depth to the eye, especially compared to this one. So far, so good. Again, just tapping into the outer corner and keeping it low in the crease. And then very lightly, I'm going to dip into that Love Handle shade again, and then just kind of go on the upper outer edge, very lightly. I'm barely pressing it into the skin. Alright, and then let's pick a lid shade. Now, I used Drama Queen earlier, so I think I want to go in with, I think I'll do that Get Ready With Me shade. And since I already did a look with this, I'm just going to go in with my finger because the brush honestly did nothing. So I'm just going to take my finger into Get Ready With Me and put that all over the lid. I don't know how well it'll pick up on camera, but there's a really nice sparkle. Let me try to take my phone and like shine a light on it and see if you guys will be able to see some. That's so bright. I want you to be able to see some of the glitter. I feel like you can kind of see it sparkling a little bit. It is really gorgeous in person though, I will tell you that. It has this really nice, pretty, just like a little like, it's almost like the Tati Beauty like sequin shade, how it has just those little like glitter reflex. I think that is gorgeous. Gorgeous color. Then for the lower lash line, gonna go in with that shade. I guess for the heck of it, I'm just gonna go in with this shade, Comfort Zone. These three to me are very similar, so I think it'll be fine. Again, kick up in the pan. So I'll just put this on the lower lash line. It's going to be more difficult to do my lower lash line because I do have mascara from the first look, but we will make do. I think you can definitely see that. To me, those three shades are, like I said, they're very, very similar. Could we have done with just one of those? I think so, honestly. Like, can you even really see a big difference between like my top crease shades and that shade in the lower lash line? I don't think so. I don't think it's big enough of a difference for it to really matter. Like, I don't think if you were to look at this look, you would be like, oh, she has a different shade on her lower lash line, you know what I mean? So, I think, you know, like I said, I think these three shades are very similar, especially these two. I think they're very similar, but since they are like your neutral shades, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing because typically you would be using these shades more for like your transition and stuff like that, so I don't think it's necessarily a big problem. See, and to me, honestly, like, okay, let's look at this for a second. Like, this shade is pretty similar looking to this shade in the pan. These three look similar. Even this could honestly probably be similar to these. So I will say there are some similar looking shades, at least in the pan. I mean, I don't know, to me they look very similar. I don't think we necessarily needed all of those. Like, we could have maybe gotten some other colors, but since they are like your more everyday colors, I don't personally mind it too much, just because again, those are shades that you would typically go through faster versus like these colors, like the pinks and purples. I'm not gonna wear those all the time. So, but I will say that maybe we could have done with maybe some different kind of neutral shades rather than how similar all those are. But this is just me being kind of nitpicky towards the palette. Overall, I'm really loving it so far. So, you know, I just want to point out things that I'm noticing. For fun, I'm gonna go ahead and take that Tempting shade, is that what it's called? Temptress, the black, and just push that very closely into the lower lash line again, like I did in the first look. Then for the brow bone, since there really is only like 2 shades that would be good for the brow bone, which is the matte shade I used to set down my lid, and then this one which has like a little bit of a shift to it. I did use that shade, which is called I'm In It, in the first look, but I'm gonna go ahead and use it again because I don't really want to use that matte shade. Honestly, I think this is pretty good for like a natural everyday look. I'm just gonna touch up my eyeliner and mascara a little bit, and then we'll wrap up my thoughts on this palette. Alright, so that is the finished second look. This is the everyday, like, wearable look. Obviously, I really do love it because I am more of a natural wearer for eyeshadow myself, but I really did love the first look I did too. You know, I thought it was a wearable, colorful look, honestly. Like, I could have gone out into public with that eyeshadow and felt okay. Like, I didn't feel like it was too off the wall. So to give you my kind of first impressions, thoughts on this palette, I think every shade that I used worked really well. As I mentioned during the tutorials, I do feel that a few of the neutral shades are on the similar side. However, it's not something that really bothers me because if you think about it, at least for me, I buy so many palettes, or I have in the past. I have 51 now in my collection, and you know, a lot of them have similar shades, you know, amongst each other, I guess. I get it, it's a little bit different in a palette like this where you kind of want to have different colors, but they are all a little bit different. I just feel like we didn't necessarily need all of them, you know what I mean? Like, if she wanted to put some other colors in, she could have easily taken out a few of these more like neutral shades. Overall, I really do enjoy this palette. There is kickback in pretty much every shadow that I use, honestly, so keep that in mind if you are interested in this palette, if that's something that bothers you. Obviously, I didn't get a chance to use every single shade in this palette, but what I did use so far, I really quite enjoy. I will do more looks on this in the future if that's something you guys want to see. I definitely think I will be reaching for this, especially for like a wearable look, because I absolutely love this eyeshadow right now. So I will probably be reaching for this quite a bit, especially now because it's new to me. So if you like Jaclyn and you want to support her, I think this is not a bad palette, honestly. You know, it's definitely, I think this formula is better than other Morphe palettes I have used in the past. Her first palette was a huge hit. I think this is also better than the Vault palettes. I feel like with the Vault collection, you did have to work with those a little bit more, whereas these just built up super easy, super nice. Really liked it. So this is definitely going to be a new favorite in my collection, and I will be using it quite a bit. So thank you, Mom, if you're watching this, for getting me this for Valentine's Day. Anyway, that is it for these 2 looks. I hope that you enjoyed them, and I hope you enjoyed hearing my thoughts. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe before you go. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.